The DJI Mini 4 Pro is one of the most popular drones, and I've had such a love-hate relationship with this. So today I'm going to be talking about my long-term review on the Mini 4 Pro. What's good about it, what I don't like about it, and crucially, should you still go out and buy it? Let's get into this. So the DJI Mini 4 Pro was released in September 2023, about 10 months ago now, and the hype surrounding this drone was huge. It followed on from the really popular DJI Mini 3 Pro. So let's talk about what this drone has been like, my honest opinions over this last 10 months. It's not all going to be great. There's a lot of things about this which could be better, and things that if you're thinking about getting this, you need to know as well. So let's talk about what I've liked on this drone over these last 10 months first of all, including the new features. We need to start on a positive note, and then we'll talk about what's not too good on this drone as well. And if you do enjoy tech and drone content, please consider subscribing. About 15% of you guys watching these videos are subscribers. It would mean a lot if you can get that to 20%. So hit that subscribe button, sit back, relax, and let's get into the positives. Now, firstly, the size of it. This is a huge advantage. Yes, it's a little bit plasticky, but it really is remarkable just how they've actually packed all of the features and tech we get in such a tiny drone like this. Much smaller than the Air series, the Mavic series. This could easily travel with you, and the portability factor of this is a massive advantage. And it means being under 250 grams, it has less restrictions. You could fly this drone in more places. You don't need to have the same drone licenses that you do on heavier drones like the Air series and the Mavic. It means you can fly this closer to places, near people, over people. You have a lot less restrictions when you're getting a drone which is under 250 gram, like the Mini 4 Pro. And it continues with the batteries as well. These are really small and compact. Even the battery charger, it weighs nothing. You can charge 3 batteries at once, charge it via USB-C. It is really convenient. In regards to actual drones under 250 grams, that portability and convenience factor, nothing comes close to this. There is no competition. If you're wanting a small drone, get this. It is literally the best of the best. But that said, it's not perfect, and that's what we'll come on to. Having a small drone like this, it is a disadvantage as well. But there is more positives. Now, the camera on the Mini 4 Pro, this got a slight upgrade. Now, you can shoot in up to 4K 60, you have 4K 100 for slow motion, and I have been really impressed with the camera quality coming from the Mini 4 Pro. I've filmed in so many different locations, and I've never been like, that's not good enough. The camera quality, considering the size of it, the size of this drone, is really impressive. We saw new features added like the ability to shoot in D-Log-M, which is a 10-bit color profile. This captures 1 billion colors, and you can shoot in this flat color profile. You can then use LUTs and get phenomenal results, and it's never let me down. It's also got really good low light performance. So if you're shooting in low light, nighttime, you're having low light nighttime video mode now as well. So you get noise reduction added to get really good shots at low light. The video quality on here, this is going to be the main thing you're getting a drone for. You're not going to get a drone like this just because it's small. You're wanting a small drone that's portable, convenient, but also really good camera quality. And this has a really good camera. And this also has a huge advantage over other drones like the Air series and the Mavic series, that the camera rotates. At the touch of a button, the camera will change from landscape to vertical mode, so you can use photos and videos in vertical format as well. And this has saved me so much time not having to crop or do any processing whatsoever. I can share my content to Reels, Instagram instantly, and the photos are also great. JPEG and RAW photos, you have the ability to shoot in 48 megapixel photos, so you can crop in if you need to as well. And also the super wide panorama photos are excellent. I've been taking loads of those recently. So photos and videos are really impressive on this drone, as long as you do 2 things, which I'll come on to. Now, we didn't see a lot of hardware improvements added to the Mini 4 Pro. We saw a lot of software added to it instead. The name DJI Mini 3S Pro may have been more suitable for this, but we did see some fantastic features added to this drone, and features that I've been loving using over the last 10 months, and features that you guys were asking for so long. But with all the new features that we've got on that Mini 4 Pro, how many of these do you actually use? Well, the features that I've been using the most, the active shots, active track is fantastic now. When we saw this, this was a complete game changer, and it's actually got better with firmware as well. So now when you're actually tracking yourself, you get a full 360 degrees circle in the corner, and you can choose get the drone to track you from any angle whatsoever. You can also customize that. You can get the drone to actually pan around you. It is fantastic. But now you can also track you from close by and also far out as well. And the poor, really expensive DJI Mavic 3 Pro, it doesn't come close to anything in relation to tracking like that. The tracking on here is really good. I've been using that so much over this last 10 months. Features like waypoints you were asking for so long as well. We had it in Hyperlapse, but now you have a dedicated waypoints mode. So you can customize your own drone missions, tell the drone exactly where you want it to fly, you can save that, and then the drone will actually do that complete mission for you. And I've been using that a lot as well, especially when filming myself. And cruise control, you can get the drone to go into autopilot. So you fly this drone on the controller, you hit the C1 button, and the drone will go into autopilot and continue its path. These are fantastic features added to this drone that you didn't see on the Mini 3 Pro. And then you got the classic features like quick shots, master shots. I mean, who still uses master shots? But quick shots is really good. Then you've got hyperlapse. I'm always using hyperlapse. All the features that we have accessible to us now. It's not just photos and videos. We have tons of intelligent flight features now. Also, this drone gives you a lot more confidence. We have full 360 degrees of sensor and protection. You didn't get this on the Mini 3 Pro, so if you was to fly sideways on that drone, you could crash it easily. It didn't detect any obstacles when flying sideways. Now it does. It detects it all over the place. So when you're flying, if it detects an obstacle, it will go around it or it will stop. And you can see from this shot here, it actually works really well. And that works either in normal video mode or tracking. It works both the same. And the camera on here is an f1.7, which means it lets a lot of light into this sensor. So that's going to be good for low light video. And also, again, with firmware in those last 10 months, we've seen those color profiles which I talked about. So you've got normal, you have HLG, which is like that HDR effect. And you've also got D-Log M, which is my personal favorite. But when you're using the features like in quick shots, you can also use that D-Log M color profile in that as well now. And you can also, when you're using the vertical camera, you rotate this camera around, you can still use features like the tracking and also quick shots using the D-Log M color profile. So all these like software related features have just made this drone a really impressive one. And that's one thing that DJI are really good at doing, and we've seen this over this last few years. You buy the drone when it gets released, and then like a month later, maybe a few months later, new features are added. And this is something which you don't get from other companies. So when the Mini 4 Pro was released, two features that I've really been enjoying using is, the first one is that you can now see out of these obstacle avoidance cameras. So when you're flying, if you're flying in an area where you've got loads of obstacles, let's just say around trees, I can actually switch to the camera view, the obstacle avoidance cameras, and actually see on my controller exactly what is in that area through these cameras. It's really handy. And also when flying this with the DJI RC2, I'll talk about this controller in a second, but it's a good controller. You don't need to connect your phone, no wires, and everything's built in. But when you're filming outside, then it is quite tricky seeing that screen in bright conditions. But they've also, with firmware, give us the ability so you can actually fly the DJI Mini 4 Pro with the DJI goggles. So you can put these goggles on, you get this really immersive video. I've done a full video on this, but you can still fly it with the DJI RC2. So that really is a great combo. So to end on the positives there, the Mini 4 Pro really is a great drone and has a lot of advantages. If you're a beginner, this is going to be perfect for you. And also, if you want to just get really good quality in a tiny drone, nothing comes close to this. But you see, to get the most out of this drone, you're going to have to change a lot of the settings. By default, there's so many settings on here which are just set incorrectly, and your footage isn't going to be great. This is what you need to change. So that's why today's video is sponsored by me. You see, I brought out my own DJI cheat sheets. We go through all the different settings on here, tell you exactly how to fly this, how to get the very most out of it. So I brought out my own digital cheat sheets. These go through all of these different settings for you. But recently, I released my ultimate settings guide, and this is a physical product. This is like a book, and this goes through all the settings again. Each one of these are double-sided, these sheets, all color-coded, so you can find all this information really easily, and it tells you everything that you need to know about the DJI Mini 4 Pro. You can keep this with you all the time. It's actually hole punched, has a clip and a carabiner clip, so you can attach this to a backpack, so you're never going to forget these settings when you're out flying the Mini 4 Pro. And also, if you want to use that D-Log M color profile to get really good video results, but you're not too sure about color grading, so I've got my own DJI Mini 4 Pro LUTs. You drag them onto your video clip and job done. So I highly recommend you go and have a look on this website. Loads of different products on there, but especially these. These are brand new and these are fantastic. Free shipping, so go and check these out. So thanks so much for listening to me. Let's get back into the video. So the Mini 4 Pro, it does have a lot of advantages, and that is true, but also I've had a love-hate relationship with this drone. Things that have just frustrated me, or really that I just don't particularly like on that Mini 4 Pro. So let's get into the bad things. So as we said, we've seen a lot of software improvements on that Mini 4 Pro, but we haven't seen really any hardware improvements. And one of those hardware improvements is the battery. We've got to talk about battery, and this is probably the biggest problem with the Mini 4 Pro. So the battery life. So the batteries are tiny, the drone is tiny, everything's great there in relation to the size of this drone. But the downside to that is, with all these new intelligent flight features, all the features on here, and because of the size of the drone, it takes a massive impact on the actual flight time you're going to get. So DJI market it at 34 minutes of flight time. That is never going to happen. So the average you're going to get is maximum, I'd say 20 minutes is what I've been getting of flight time per battery. Now, if it's windy, expect that to be around 15 minutes, sometimes less. Because of this drone being small, it's going to have to work harder to fight against that wind. So battery life is not great, which means you're going to at least have to buy, when you get this, the Fly More combo. That's a combo I highly recommend anyway, but you're going to need at least 3 batteries. Now this charging case, luckily, is really good and convenient. Charge it via USB-C, so have the Fly More combo with the 2 extra batteries. Now when I travel around, I take the DJI Mini 4 Pro and 6 batteries as a minimum, sometimes 9. But you're going to need at least 3 batteries. 1 battery on the Mini 4 Pro, it's never going to be enough. You're going to be completely miserable. Get into a location, you might see a few different shots you want to capture, and you're going to have maximum 20 minutes to do that. I would have liked to have seen somehow with new battery technology where the battery is actually better on the Mini 4 Pro. At least a 40-minute flight time will advertise, which means we're going to get about 25-30 minutes. But we saw no battery improvements. If anything, this is less because of all the new intelligent flight features. And the camera is fantastic, really good quality coming out of here. But you'll notice whenever I'm flying my Mini 4 Pro, I've always got ND filters on here, and you really do have to. So if you don't have ND filters on here, your footage is not going to look anything like any of these clips that you've seen on this video. You see, it's got an f1.7 aperture, which means it's going to let a lot of light into that sensor. This is going to be great for low light and nighttime, but during the daytime, an f1.7, I mean, you wouldn't really use f1.7 in daylight on a normal camera without ND filters on, because your footage is just going to be either really overexposed, or what the drone will do, it will bump that shutter speed really high to compensate for all the light going into here. So basically, without getting into all the technical side of it, if the drone raises that shutter speed really high, the higher the shutter speed, the less realistic your footage is going to look, and the more sharper it's going to look as well. This gives you a really unrealistic video image. So I've always got on ND filters. So ND filters, think of them like sunglasses for your drone. So you put an ND filter on, this is then going to reduce that light going into the sensor. So you can then have a lower shutter speed. So a lower shutter speed, you're going to have a more realistic looking video. So you have to use ND filters. If you haven't got any, I'll link the ones I use near to the top of the description as well, but they are crucial. They were crucial on the Mini 3 Pro, but especially on the Mini 4 Pro. If you want to get good video results, just get some ND filters. We want that video file to look like it looks in real life, more cinematic, more natural. And if you don't use ND filters, that's not going to happen. Now, the size of this drone is phenomenal, really nice and portable, but this drone's biggest fear is the wind. Now, it's remarkable actually just how well it withstands the wind. This drone, I've had it in some really windy places and it's been blown around all over the place. And still, although that drone has been getting battered, the footage has come out pretty good because of this gimbal. But it is still a disadvantage to this. And just like I mentioned before, as soon as it's windy, and I'm talking like over 25 miles per hour winds, the battery life is going to drain right down. And also the drone, it might be too windy for this, so it's not stable. It's getting blown around all over the place. It might be getting pushed back or pushed forward, depending on the wind direction. And annoyingly, there has been a few times where I've not been able to get the shots because it's been too windy. So luckily, I may have had the Air 3 on me, so I've been able to use that and got the shots. Now, luckily, this has only happened to me about a dozen times over this last 10 months. Now, yes, it's frustrating, but it is also to be expected because this drone is so small. It's got really small propellers on this. It is impressive how it can withstand the wind, but it is also a disadvantage as well because of this drone's size. One thing I really don't like about this drone is that the propellers are screwed in. They're not push and turn and release like on the Air 3. So if you're flying this drone and you might hit something like a tree leaf or a branch or a twig or something like that where you need to actually change the propeller, you're going to have to take with you all the time the DJI screwdriver. It's this really tiny screwdriver that you actually get with this drone. And there's been so many times where I've actually forgot that screwdriver, and I'm sure you have as well. So if you get in this drone, make sure to take that little tiny screwdriver with you all the time. So the DJI RC2, we saw this released with the Air 3 and the Mini 4 Pro, and this is a decent controller. The external antennas on here are much better now. Signal performance, OcuSync 4. There's hardly any breakup now with this signal on here, so transmission is much better. It's got a new chip inside of it, so it's a bit faster. So overall, it's actually a really good controller for taking with you because it is so lightweight. It's not like the RC Pro, which is really heavy, so it combines well with the Mini 4 Pro. With the only downside of this controller being it is still 700 nits of screen brightness. We didn't see any improvement over the original DJI RC in terms of brightness. So it's going to be fine flying at low light, nighttime, indoors. But as soon as it's like scenarios where it's like high noon, you've got really bright conditions, it is quite tricky seeing the screen on here. So during them times, I'm like sat in a car, sat in the passenger seat, or finding like a shaded area. So I would say that's the only disappointment with the DJI RC2. Now the camera on here is phenomenal, 24mm, so it's a really good focal length, but it would have been really good to have some kind of improved digital zoom. Through computational photography, the algorithms to be better. We have a digital zoom on here, but it's not very good, don't advise you to really use that. You see, on the Air 3, you've got that 17mm dedicated telelens. It is fantastic. You can get close to things, you get really nice compression, you can zoom in. The Mavic 3 Pro, that has 3 different lenses. You are limited on the Mini 4 Pro, just that one lens. We are completely limited, I know, because of the weight of this. It has to stay under 250 grams. So if we can't have like hardware and physical different lenses on here, that digital zoom, it needs to be better in software, hopefully, maybe with firmware, but that would be an improvement I'd like to see, especially on the Mini 4 Pro. Now, with all that being said, a lot of the disadvantages of this drone can be resolved as long as you get some more batteries, because the flight time's not great on here. As long as you get ND filters so you can actually film and get really good video during daylight, you're going to get fantastic results with that Mini 4 Pro. And out of all the different drones that I'm flying, the Mini 4 Pro, this is the drone that I'm flying the most. There's just something about these drones. I think it's because it's so small and convenient. I'm not having to think about it. I can just take this drone with me and know I'm going to be able to get the shots. So the Mini 4 Pro, it doesn't have the zoom lens and the quality of that Air 3. It doesn't have the performance of the Mavic 3 Pro, but it also brings you a ton of advantages as well. It has all the features of the Air 3. It has the same main lens camera as the Air 3, but it also has the convenience factor, which these two drones don't have. So it's been a love-hate relationship with the Mini 4 Pro over these last 10 months, but I still do recommend this. It wasn't a huge upgrade over the Mini 3 Pro, but we did see a load of features added to that Mini 4 Pro to get it to where it is today. So do I still recommend you go and picking up the DJI Mini 4 Pro? It's been out about 10 months after all now. Well, yes, I really do. You see, I've not heard about any successor DJI Mini 5 Pro at all on the radar. So I don't think that's going to happen this year at all. I think that if it's going to happen, it'll be towards the end or maybe summer 2025. So this is a great time to go and pick one of these up, especially now we're getting better weather. It's summertime, people are flying their drones more. The DJI Mini 4 Pro, it still is a great drone. Just make sure you get the Fly More combo for the extra batteries. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I really do enjoy doing these long-term reviews on these tech products. It's really important to tell you the good and the bad, completely my own thoughts. So I really do hope you enjoyed this. If you did, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, give me a fist bump in the comments and I'll give you one of them back as well. Go and check out my website for the Ultimate Drone Moves book. This is fantastic. You're really going to love this. I really appreciate anyone watching this now. Mini 4 Pro, let me know in the comments what do you think about this drone as well. Loads of content coming really soon, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.